Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. Today I wanted to make a video based upon my last video. My most recent one was about the NHR that the Prime Minister here in Portugal, Prime Minister Costa, said is going to go away at some point in 2024. When they give a date, I will pass that along to you. But based upon the comments and the interaction, I thought it would be worth just making a short video and letting you know that Portugal has tax treaty agreements with many countries throughout the world. So as you can see here, I don't know if this is a complete list, but I went on several different websites to compile a list of the countries that Portugal has an agreement with. And I thought it was really important. So many of you that were commenting, especially those from the United States, there were some people, I think from the UK, that it's worth looking to see what agreement is in place. And then from your home country, what tax implications mean, as well as here in Portugal. And where I'm going with that is, as the NHR will sunset, it looks like if the Prime Minister said it, most likely it will happen. I don't think he will go back on those words. It may be revised, or if it goes away, you still can rely on that tax treaty with your home country here in Portugal. If you are coming from a country that does not have a treaty with Portugal, you're most likely going to have maybe a dual taxation situation. I can't verify that because I don't know where everyone's coming from. But I'll say specifically for those people from the United States, as we are, there is a tax treaty in place. So reading that before we came, and I'm going to put a link in the description as well as the first pinned comment, so that those of you that are worried or concerned because you wanted to take advantage of the NHR, those of you that have those questions can consult that. It's a lot of legalese, so you may want to forward that to an accountant and say, could you please take a look at this? But it's worth taking a look and saying, okay, I'm not getting double taxed if I have a tax treaty with Portugal. Where am I getting zero tax? So in general terms, there's countries where maybe pensions or Social Security is not getting taxed. So let's say maybe the NHR doesn't necessarily impact you that way negatively, whether it's around or not. You have to look at things like capital gains, dividends, rental income, stocks, bonds, retirement plan distributions or withdrawals, I'll say, from things like retirement accounts and whether they, I'll speak, this is more US now, Roth or individual retirement accounts, 401ks, traditional or Roth contributions, and now withdrawals. There's a myriad of things, depending on where you live in the world, that you may be using as income to pay for your time in Portugal. And it's important to look up your country. Just do a Google search. Does X country have a tax treaty with Portugal? And if they do, and if you can read through it, send it to your tax advisor. It's worth looking at, because the end or revision of NHR may not be, at the end of the day, the end of your journey to Portugal, based upon what gets taxed and what may not get taxed. It may not impact you as negatively as some of the comments and the reactions are. We're not in that, we're working, so we do have an NHR at 20%. But by the time it expires, we're not going to be retired yet. So we will be paying, if we're in Portugal, we're going to pay whatever the tax rates are in Portugal, and then whatever we need to pay back to the United States. I will say this too, and I've looked at a few of the tax treaties. Now, when I say a few, a whopping 3 of them. They have over 100 countries that Portugal has agreements with. There is a tax credit that goes along with that. So because you're not getting double taxed in those tax treaty situations, if you get, usually it's June or July, you get a notice from Portugal saying, here's, let's say, what you owe. So let's say you owe 500 euros to Portugal for taxes from the previous year. Then that gets sent and gets applied as a credit to the taxes that you may be filing in your home country. So there's some things that need to be ferreted out here, but it's actually I'm going to say this, I know it's going to frustrate people, but having the NHR on the table to be removed is probably a good thing in this respect. It's forcing people who haven't paid attention to the taxes abroad to pay attention to it, because now instead of just thinking of I'm only going to pay a 10% or 20% to Portugal for 20 years or for 10 years, excuse me, as that goes away or will get modified, then I do need to know what the taxes are here in Portugal. So it's making people research more, which is a good thing, as well as how does that impact back home, wherever back home is. So I'm not saying that removing the NHR is good, but I understand why Portugal's doing it. I don't know. My own opinion is I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. But for those of you that have a tax treaty from your home country with Portugal, it may not be as bad as what you think. So please do some research, look at your country's tax treaty, get an accountant involved. Should be doing that before you move or as you're moving here anyway, to try to get a feel for what you're getting into tax-wise before you consider a move to any country. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the channel. Enjoy your travels.